Start off warming your wrists up, so take fists with your hands and gently roll them. Roll both wrists in one direction. Take about 10 circles in one direction and then 10 in the other direction. So starbursts, you open and close the fingertips fully, so fully close and then fully extend actively, then go a little faster. Go faster still, perhaps raise the arms above the heads, keep going faster and faster, and then shake them out, coming onto all fours. And we're just lifting the heels of the hands, so we're coming up onto the knuckles, the balls of the fingers, keeping all of the fingers down, and just lifting the heels of the hands up and down. And do that 10 times. If it's too much to lift both at the same time, just do one wrist at a time. If you've got blocks or books, then curl your fingers over the edge of the block or the book and then have a go at extending the fingers. So curl them round to the block and then extend and hold. Keep the arms straight. Then have a look at the hand position. So spread the fingers of your hand when it's flat on the mat. Push all of the balls of the fingers down and then grip with your fingertips. So the balls of the fingers stay down and you're gripping just with the fingertips. It's like spider hands. Start with puppy pose. Keep the hips over the knees and extend the hands as far away as you can. And then sink the chin, the armpits and the chest down towards the floor. Then to activate it, come up onto your fingertips, activate the arms and actively push the chest down towards the floor. And again, relax into the passive variation, just allowing gravity to sink, and active and passive once more. Come onto your hands and knees and scapular push-ups. We're going to draw the shoulder blades together behind your back and then separate them by pushing the hands and the shoulders into the floor. And do that 5 to 10 times with control. Actively drawing the shoulder blades together behind your back and then actively separating them, pushing through the hands, lifting the upper back to the ceiling. Keeping the arms straight. Come up into downward facing dog. And we're going to push through the hands, keep the arms straight and draw the armpits up to the ears. So we're elevating in the shoulders. And then relax that and elevate once more. Just show you what's happening with my shoulders. So push into the hands, elevate the shoulders and then wrap the triceps round by the ears. So elevate, push through the floor and then wrap the triceps round towards your ears and then hold there and repeat. So push, wrap and hold. Push, wrap and hold. So you should feel when you wrap the triceps that the armpits come towards each other and the elbows will begin to turn so that the inner elbows start to face forwards. And then we're going to come into a puppy pose variation but with the hands in prayer position. So bring your hands into prayer position, then come back into puppy pose. Take the arms as far in front of you as you can, keep the hips over the shoulder, over the knees, and then open up the hands like you're opening up a book. You should feel a nice stretch through the shoulders here, quite deep. Don't allow the belly to sag too much, keep the abdomen drawn in, gaze towards the hands if that's comfortable. And then come to the wall, measure the distance from your wall by sitting with your hips against the wall and noticing where your feet are. Place your hands where your feet were and then step your feet up the wall. The idea is that your hips come over your shoulders and your shoulders are directly above your wrists. Take a photo or a video and you'll see how far off you are. Sometimes it feels deeper than it actually is. And then hold here, remembering to elevate through your shoulders, so push through the hands and then wrap the triceps. Keep pushing all the time, keep the belly drawn in. So working a few core exercises, come into plank and draw your knee into your armpit and then slide it down towards your wrist. So lift the armpit down to the wrist. See if you can do 10 each side. So armpit to wrist, armpit to wrist. Try to minimise the movement in any of the body apart from the knee and the leg, so the shoulders and the hips trying to stay level, isolating that movement, lifting it up to the armpit. And then coming onto your back, doing some hollow body. So with your knees bent, push your lower back into the floor so that you get rid of that lumbar arch. Take your arms overhead and then bring your knees into your chest. So with your knees in, it's easier to put the lower back into the mat, and then straighten the legs out and see how far you can lower them towards the floor with the legs straight without your lower back lifting, and then hold there. So aiming to hold for between 5 and 10 breaths, and then rest by bringing your knees in. Keep the lower back pushing down, and then try again. Aiming for up to 3 sets of 10 breaths here. Always pushing down through the lower back. The lower you can take the feet to the floor, the harder it becomes, so go with that. And then when you've done those, come into a standing position and work with Uddiyana Bandha. So standing up, force the out breath out, hands to your knees, bend your knees a little bit. And then just as you want to breathe in, draw the belly in and suck it in and up into your rib cage, but don't actually breathe in. So keep your mouth closed, suck the belly in and up, and then when you're ready to breathe in, gently release your belly and let the breath come in, and then expel it out again. Draw the belly really forcefully in and up into the rib cage, and then gently release. I'd probably do that 2, 3, 4 times. So working with hamstrings now. So take a forward fold, hips back in space, and feel that you can bend the knees and lower your body straight down onto your thighs. So you've got you've got complete contact between your torso and your thighs. Take your hands far out in front of you so that you can get that stretch down the upper body, but glue the torso to the thighs, and then lift the sitting bones up. You can draw the body closer in by holding the ankles, and then have a go at bending the knees and lifting the hips, but trying to keep the body glued to the legs. So just do that a few times, just kind of bouncing up and down, bending the knees, lifting the hips up, but keeping the belly glued. And then you can do the same thing, but with the legs wide apart. So lower the torso down in between the legs, and then lift the hips, keeping the torso low and glued by the thighs. Extend the arms in front, and then bend the knees, and then try to get the hips up, but without the body coming away from the thighs. And then hold. Just working deep into the hamstrings. And then coming into a squat position. And from here, you should be able to keep the body in between your thighs and then actively lift up the chest. And then going back into the squat and then lifting the hips high with the fingertips stretched out in front of you. And again, aiming to keep the body and the thighs at exactly the same angle. So you're working the hamstrings, the back of the legs, but you're also working the hip flexors and the upper and the lower abdomen. Now come into a pyramid with the legs. So step 1 foot back, bend the front knee, and once again lay the torso over the front leg, hands either side of the foot, and see if you can lift the foot and the leg by squeezing the thigh up towards the belly. See if you can do it without lifting the hip, and then you try the other side. So first of all, feel that nice hamstring stretch, and then push into your hands. I'm coming up into my fingertips, but you can have your palms flat. Round the shoulders, round the back, push into your hands, and see if you can lift the foot off the floor. So round the back, draw the belly in and lift the foot. And you can do the same thing with blocks or with books. So I'm just using a couple of blocks so that I can actually get a little bit of extra lift and keep my palms down. So again, rounding the back and lifting the foot, pushing through the hands, round the back, draw the belly in and lift the foot, and then see if you can lift and lower, just pulsing up and down, and then go to the other side. Push through the hands, round the back, and lift and lower the foot. And then sit down, put the block in between your legs, and without leaning back too much, so try to keep your shoulders above your hips. Activate the legs and then lift the leg over the block one at a time. So go one leg and then the other, just lift and lower, but trying not to allow the body to fall back. So we're using the thighs and the hip flexors to do that. If that feels okay, you can increase the challenge by taking the block up onto its end. If you're really brave, you can lift it up completely. So this, I've got my block at kind of stage 2, so it's not completely flat, it's just on its edge. And again, trying not to lean back, using the legs and the lower abdominals to lift and lower the leg. And then coming into your kind of pike shape, so legs out in front of you, arms lifted, and then lift and lower with your arms overhead. Each time you come down, you might go a bit further, using your lower back muscles to lift you back up each time. So these are the muscles that you need when you're lifting into a press. So you can do that, say, between 5 and 10 times in a pike, and then do between 5 and 10 in a straddle shape as well. And again, each time you come down, you might come down a little lower. Try to come up with a straight back so that you're really engaging the lower back muscles to lift up. So puppy press is the easiest one to start with. So place your hands on the floor and cock your leg as if you're a puppy. So the knee's bent and you're squeezing the knee in and lifting it up and out to the side. And you'll notice that when I do that, my hips start to lift a little, and it's that lift in the hip that will give you that kind of lift into puppy press. And then place your hands down on the floor. Remember the hand positioning. Come really high onto your tiptoes. Remember that compression, so squeezing your belly into your legs into your belly. Lift your hips as high up as you can get them. And then see if you get a little bit of lift off.